What's going on, hustlers? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Dave Cantave. I've won over $3.5 million worth of federal government contracts, and I've helped generate nearly $10 million in revenue for the over 120 companies that we have worked with. Check out the YouTube channel to legit check me, or our cage code 8 Bravo Papa Echo 2. In today's video, we have a very special guest, Mrs. Jerry Baker, the owner of Type A Management and Consulting. And in the video, we're going to be unpacking how Jerry overcame all of the administrative issues and difficulties with getting her business registered in sam.gov and getting her cage code, and then how she also overcame never actually even receiving her postcard with her PIN number to register for DIBS, and how she actually ended up recently winning her first contract valued at over $12,000 with a profit margin exceeding 20%. So we're gonna be breaking down how you can apply all of those things in your business, such as the resilience, the character, the methodologies that Jerry used to overcome not getting her postcard, and all that good stuff. So if you're new here, welcome to the world of government contracting. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let's get into the video. What's going on, hustlers? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have my right-hand man, Mr. Sam White, and then we have a very special guest here to give us the good, the bad, and the ugly of government contracting. She's going to give you guys a very transparent, open, and honest look as to everything that goes on in this business and then what's on the other side of it, if you can grind it out. So we've got Mr. Sam White, and then we have Miss Jerry. Jerry, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Hi, my name is Jerry. I am new to government contracting, very new, but not new to government. I've been working in various capacities for the government for quite a while. In my day-to-day life, I'm an attorney, currently practicing, and I've been doing that for forever. And I'm also in the Army Reserves. I'm in the JAG Corps. And so I'm an attorney for them as well. And I'm also a part-time law professor for a law school in California. I've been doing that for a while as well. So lots of jobs. So I said, why not try to add on something else? So looked into government contracting. I've known about government contracting for a while. I used to work for the VA, worked for the VA for a very long time. And we worked on the legal side of looking at applicants and their businesses to see if they qualified to be certified BOSB or SDBOSB. So we were the legal advisors looking over the documents, making sure everything was the way it's supposed to be before we gave the certification. So we got to see the contracts that they wanted to bid on. We got to see what it was like working in tandem with the COTAR for the VA. So I got to see that side of it, and now I'm on the other side where we're doing the bidding, where we're looking at the contracts. And I came across your videos, and I said, I think I can do that. So decided to reach out in the midst of everything else. Decided to reach out, and here I am.
Cool. Awesome. Very nice. What was it specifically that attracted you into this area of government contracting, Jerry?
For me, it's the flexibility, because as we've discussed when I first signed up, I'm not necessarily trying to replace my jobs, and for now, because I do enjoy what I do. It is full time. I don't plan on quitting and doing this anytime soon. This was a good way for me to do this, not necessarily on the side, but try to start off small. So, I can bid on contracts 24/7. It doesn't have to be 9 to 5. I can source products at nights on the weekends. I can reach out to vendors, shoot off an email, give them a call, and then they can call me back or reply to my email. So it's very, very, very flexible, and it's very scalable. Very scalable, and you can get out of it what you put into it. If I wanted to quit my job tomorrow and go all in, I could. If I wanted to just kind of stick with, a couple contracts a month and, have shopping money and go on vacations, I could. If I had kids and wanted to get braces for Junior, I could do that, pick up a couple contracts and do that. So it's very flexible. And that's what I liked about it. And it was the other side of service contracts. So when I was at the VA, all of the veterans, they were trying to get the big service contracts. All of the defense contracts, all of the, big multi-million-dollar contracts. Well, here it's procurement. Here it's, the government needs, toothpicks. And you go out and you find the toothpicks, and then you bid on the toothpick contract. And if you win, then you give the government their toothpicks. So, and it's like an array of things, so if you're bidding on things and then you realize, okay, I think I have a toothpick guy and I can just, source all government contracts with toothpicks, that can be your niche, as opposed to, bidding on, multiple service contracts and hoping that you get, the big kahuna, the big multi-million-dollar contract, so that's what I liked about it. And also, and I don't really hear a lot of people say this, so maybe I'm, kind of the odd man out on this one. It's not a lot of interaction on the procurement side. It's very in and out. It's very, you're calling vendors. Do you have the toothpicks? No. Then you call the next vendor. Do you have the toothpicks? No. Then you call the next vendor. It's very.
I can imagine a dialogue you probably have is a bit different to your line of work in terms of conversations you probably have to have.
It's almost like it's scripted, right? It's like it's very, formulaic.
Once you know what you should be saying or what the language is, you have a bit of a process.
Exactly. Like I said, if you can, make connections with the same vendors, then you're good to go, right? So it makes it easier. Like if you're not really a people person, or if you're kind of introverted, or, if you have a lot of things going on, maybe some sort of attention deficit situation. I think that this is a really good alternative to the service side, where you got to get out there and you got to, shake hands with babies. Like, you're not going to get these contracts unless you make connections. So I think this is another good way to kind of like, mildly walk into contracts.
What up, hustler? Hope you're enjoying the video. I just want to take a minute to tell you about our absolutely free 2-part seminar series that's going to be taking place in September and October. Part 1 is going to take place on Sunday, September 14th at 12 p.m. EST, and we're going to be discussing how to win your first DLA contract. We're going to be going over how to determine what solicitations you want to bid on, how to compile traceability, what information you need to get with your RFQs, and how to submit a bid in DIBS. So remember, it's absolutely free. I just need your first name, last name, and your email address, and you will be registered. Only caveat is it's not going to be recorded. This is to ensure as many people as possible attend the live session. Hope to see you guys there. Let's get back to the video.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, and I think you're definitely right in terms of it's definitely a business, like most businesses, but this is certainly one where it's very much you get in what you put out, but it's such a large space in terms of the products out there that's available, and how much you want to make is totally on you as the business. And so it's definitely scalable from that point of view, and flexible in terms of you can do it around what things you've already got going on. But what was some of the reasons for you why you wanted to get extra help with this? What was, instead of kind of just go and figure out on your own, how come you led into getting some coaching or mentorship with this for you?
Well, it was a couple of things. Number one, I'm not sure what your guys' demographics are, but as I've stated, I have like 85 jobs, and I just wanted to be able to cut straight to the chase. And Day was, I found out about government procurement from Day, but also he was one of the only ones that was actually giving like solid advice on how to do it. You could follow his YouTube videos and just go from there, which I did. I watched every last one. And I think I told you, like, if you think you have a stalker, it's me. Because I watched all your videos frontwards and backwards. And so then I was like, okay, I think I want to go ahead and pull the trigger. When I saw that you offered like one-on-one. Um, and I know you also offer group. I know you also offer group coaching. Again, for me, that just wasn't going to be a good fit for what I'm doing now, where I am, what all I have going on. I like the flexibility of one-on-one. It could be on the weekends, which we've met on the weekends. At night, you're flexible with location, because, you're in different time zones. And I'm flexible. And that's the other good thing. I'm flexible enough to where I could do one-on-ones. Usually
Mm-hmm.
with group coaching, it's, this is what I offer. You guys come in, and if you miss it, then here's the replay.
Yep.
Um, versus with one-on-ones, it's like, we're working together. Does this work? Does this work? That kind of thing. And I knew that because I have, my day job, and I wasn't, quitting, I knew that I had the time to do one-on-one coaching. I knew that it wasn't something that I need to do just like right now, all the time, like every week when we're meeting. I can spread it out, which we have, because of the contract issues. So, because I want to say there was a point where it's like we didn't hear from each other for like a month.
That did happen. I think which by the way, congratulations to Jerry. She had gotten married like at the in the point where we started working together, and then I was like transitioning into like different flying jobs, and then I was like, I think I said in
Right.
the text, I was like,
All the things.
are you alive? Are you still? Does Jerry still? She's still on the face of the earth, and then we got back into the swing of things, and then we kept it rolling.
Yeah, all everything, like anything that you can imagine, happened during that lapse. But um, finally, and it was, he called, which again, is part of the package. He called and was like, hey, haven't heard from you, just checking in, what's going on. And he gave me words of encouragement, like, don't worry, you'll get the contract. And I know, like, in the back of his mind, he's like, she should be worried. Why didn't she receive this contract? And then, like,
No,
the next
no,
day,
I always say, I'm, I'm not worried, and you guys should not be worried. And what happened? What happened the next morning? What happened
the next morning, I got notification that I got a contract. Literally the next morning. Like, I almost feel like he called somebody.
Excellent.
Like, please get someone a
Put in
contract.
a word for you.
I slid a couple crisp blue hundreds underneath
Right.
the office door in Virginia to get that spring pulled.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
Joe,
yeah,
talk
yeah.
talk a bit more about some of those. Talk a bit more about some of those challenges you went through. Like you mentioned, we've just recently won that first contract, but I know it wasn't an easy journey. There was a lot going on, obviously a lot going on in your life as well. But talk us a bit more of some of the hurdles you came across and how you overcame them.
Um, so it was a few from the get go. The first one being, sorry, I think I'm missing a dog.
Mhm.
Give me one moment. She's out there whining. Sorry.
Okay, all good.
Sorry, I thought I had them all in.
This is a first.
This is why we have an editor.
This is why we have an edit. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Um, so first things first was I changed my address because the address that I had was a virtual office, and you can't have a virtual office when you do government contracts. So I had to find a brick and mortar office.
Make notes,
Um,
by the way. Anyone getting into space, make a note of that.
yeah,
No
please,
virtual
please.
addresses,
If you
because
think
you'll
that
delay your time.
Yeah, if you think this is what you want to do, find a brick and mortar office. Please don't start off virtually. It's a nightmare because even though I changed it, I waited and then I started to do the paperwork. It was still coming up as my. I waited and I did all the change of address, did all the notices. It was still coming up as the virtual office, and they denied me DLA, denied me every step of the way. No, we don't believe you. You're in a virtual office. We can see it. We're sitting outside your virtual office now. We don't want to hear anything about a brick and mortar. You don't have one. I sent them pictures, like literally pictures of four walls. I had to send them the lease, with my name on it. I mean, literally, like every 2 days, I was approved and then rejected, approved and then rejected. Finally, they approved me. They give me my cage code, which was great. Um, and then they took it away. They took it away like a couple of days later. I didn't even know that was a thing. They
I
took
didn't
it.
know that was there has been a lot of first in this
Yeah,
in this journey. There is a lot of first in
yeah.
this
They
journey.
absolutely took it away, and I had to register all over again. Um, Even though I received the email, it said, congratulations, you're registered. This is fantastic for you. We're happy for you. And then it just deregistered. Have no idea why. They never explained it. We could never figure it out. So I had to go back and register all over again and got the same emails, the exact same emails, just swapping out dates. That was the only difference. So registered all over again. This time it stuck. Then went through the process of getting the cage code and applied, for the postcard. And
That was a fiasco in and of
yeah,
itself.
yeah, the postcard didn't come the first time. So I was like, okay, checking the address, it's all good. Requested it again because you have to wait a certain amount of time and then request it again. Requested it again, still nothing. No postcard. So I reached out and I was like, hey, haven't received a postcard. I'm calling my office, trying to explain like it's literally the size of a postcard. Have you seen it? She's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. So I reached out to Dibs and I said, hey, I haven't received the postcard. They were like, okay, well, did you check your mailbox? Yeah. Um, do you have the right address? Yeah, because if I didn't, you would have kicked it back. So, of course, I have the right address. You pulled the address from DLA. So, yeah, it's the right address. So, we went back and forth via email. Finally, they emailed me the code.
Never before seen, like not in probably nearly 200 businesses that I've been involved with, whether that be working with them, working for them, working alongside them. Getting your PIN number emailed in lieu of a postcard is literally that's unheard of. I didn't know that was possible. I didn't know that there was any legal grounds for that to take place on. Never seen that in 5 years of being in this space, half a decade. Only person I've ever seen get their PIN number emailed to them. But now there's precedent, as you would say in your line of work. So
Yes.
if anybody's going through that situation, just badger them, and they will just email you your
They'll
PIN
email
number
it to you. Yeah.
with
And like
no.
begrudgingly, if it was like a one, like she replied, yeah, I think it was a she replied, and all it had was just like the pin code, like no good morning, no sincerely. It just had like the
Congratulations. No, no.
right, right, no salutations. Like she was irritated. Like, you know what, here.
Here's your PIN number. Go kick rocks.
Yes, yes. Please leave us alone.
But it didn't stop there. It did not stop there. So you got the PIN number, and then we had a couple sessions where we were going over like bids, what to look for, how to price stuff. We did that, and then we had that conversation. I called you like, hey, I haven't heard from you, and then you won the next day, and then there was a whole other fiasco that came on the back end of that. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. So I won a contract and I was super excited about it. And then I proceed to reach out and ask them if they can provide traceability. Now, for those of you listening, don't do what I did. Don't do this. Don't try to sit home. Follow Day's directions. What I should have done is ask for traceability before I bid on the contract. And I didn't. Not sure why I missed that step.
But we
But
saved it. We saved it. We saved it.
but I didn't. And so after I got the contract, I called them and I was like, hey, are you able to show some sort of document saying that you're authorized to sell this item? She was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, sure, we can sell it because we can. And so I was like, well, do you have something showing that you can, a letter, an email, post-it note, something, anything.
Anything in
You
letterhead on writing,
Yeah.
in writing on letterhead. And this is one thing about commercial vendors is like they have what you need. You just might have to ask for it 4, 5, 6, 7 different ways, because
Yeah.
if they're not in the government space, they're gonna have no idea. Like, you ask somebody for a certificate of conformance, and they're like, "Dude, I sell to like mom and pop shops in Iowa. Like, what the
Hmm.
hell is a certificate of conformance kind of thing?" And
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, Jerry, you called that same. We spoke to the same company, the same woman.
Same
Like,
person, Amber. Yes.
yeah, Amber. We shout out Miss Amber. We both talked to
Yes.
her and called her repeatedly, and Jared's like, "Oh, they're not giving it to me." And I was like, "Just give me the phone number. Let me try. Let me see what we can dig up." And then I called her, and I was just like, "Hey, I want to purchase these. Can you do me a big favor? Can you send me pictures of the original packaging?" And I think that was kind of like the turning
Yeah,
point.
that was a turning point. Yeah. And she sent him the pictures. So then I said, okay, thinking that I needed it to come directly to me. So I emailed her and said the exact same thing. Can you send me pictures of the item? She sends me one picture so she sent him like a catalog.
From the website. She sends you one picture
Yeah,
that's
the
on,
picture from the website. Yeah,
not
and
even
I was
the
like,
part in the box, no
no,
nothing. Just like
no.
screenshot. She clipped
Yes.
it from,
Yeah,
from
exactly.
the
Like she took a picture of her computer and then sent that to
literally.
me. And I was like, oh, thanks. But and I have like I wanted to say, can you just send me what you sent, Dave? But I didn't want to be rude. So I said, can you send me the actual a picture of the actual item sitting in your warehouse? Like, can you send me that? So she sends me one picture. Now mind you, she sent Dave like 50. So she sends me one picture of the box, and that was it. But she sent Day like the box, inside the box, the item next to the box, her posed with the box and the item.
Taking
Like,
a selfie with the box.
yes, like it was like the whole crew, like everybody's like huddled around this item. It was crazy the amount of pictures that he got. I got one picture of the box. I was like, what am I doing wrong?
I don't know what I literally could not tell you. I don't know. Maybe she just somebody made her coffee really well at Starbucks when I called, and that was like the friction.
It must have been that. But the thing about it is the whole like interaction with her was always very pleasant. So
She's a
I
very
think
nice
like
lady, amazing, like great customer service. She just
yeah, yeah, 100%, 100%. Like she was really sweet. It just got to the point where I was like, what am I saying or what am I not saying that Day is saying? Like, why are we getting two different results? so so finally I get the picture, the one lone picture. And I asked Day, he's like, okay, yeah, you can go with that. And so, Sam, going back to your question of why did I decide to do one-on-ones, this is why.
Mm.
Because I was able to communicate with Day, through his, messaging portal, like, this is what I received. What should I do now? Should I flee the country because I'm not going to be able to fulfill this contract? Like, all the things. I'm so nervous. And I'm thinking, I
Yeah.
have to do this now, even though they wisely advises you to put on the contract that you're going to provide the item in 180 days. Very wisely. But here I am one day.
and that gave us
And
time. I don't.
yeah,
I This is probably maybe only the second time I've ever done this. I had time to like call around to other contractors and be like, by the way, what do you guys think of this? I was like, I said yes, I think it's good to go. And then somebody else that I spoke to was like, oh, these pictures have the lot number. And then, God forbid, if they give you any problems, you can go back to the OEM and be like, by the way, can you give me like any sample test reports or CFC for this lot, in the event that DLA comes back and asks for traceability? So they're like, yeah, you're all good to go. So fortunately, because we had that 120 or 180 days, I always say at a minimum 120. And if it's more than that, then you add 100 days to whatever they quoted you. We had time to like catch our breath and then sort everything out and then pull on like external resources to kind
mhm.
of get a very clear and concise answer. Because you asked me initially, you're like, can I buy this with this one picture? And then I was like, let me like sleep on it and see how I feel about it. And then we asked around, and then we got to like a conclusion. And it was a decently profitable contract for the first one.
Mhm.
It was like what, like
Mhm.
20 something percent, like 22%.
Yeah, yeah. It was 20% on on the a 20% margin. There it is on
Yeah.
the project. So yeah,
Pretty solid. Can't complain about that for like the first for like the first one. And
yeah,
it was five figure contract, so you can't get mad at that for the first one. Didn't lose money on it, so
right, right,
that's
right.
more than myself and a lot of other businesses can say for the first contract. So gotta be proud of that one. And then you did go ahead and you did purchase the parts and everything, correct?
Yes, so I purchased them, and they came, and they were incredibly heavy. And so
They
now
didn't look
I'm.
that big, really. They
They
were heavy.
didn't. Yeah, they didn't. I took pictures with them, but yes, they are. They are. They're about this big. But yeah, about this big. And they
Hmm,
are heavy. I think each one weighs 10 pounds, and so I weigh
damn,
40.
damn.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna have to palletize them, which is a whole other quest of trying to figure out how to package these. But again, this is why I signed up with Day, because ChatGPT can only get you so far.
This is
Um,
true.
Mm.
and your packaging video is like stellar. Like nobody has anything like that on the web or anywhere. So the video itself is
And
um,
if you need it, we have a company now that you can send the stuff to, and they will package on your behalf, or you can call them and they will give you insight on
yeah.
what to do. And that's something that I don't know anybody else that's doing that. So we're pretty proud of that. I've been talking too much. I'm going to swing it back to Sam.
Yeah, well, I thought a good place. I mean, now we've gone through this journey. It's definitely been a turbulent journey, to say the least.
Hmm.
But with that comes an awful lot of experience, and definitely a theme running through your journey is you've been persistent and you've been fortunate now to somewhat come through the other side and start to see some fruits of your labor. But going through that journey, what advice would you give to people who are just looking to get into doing business with the DLA? What would you tell those people? Obviously, you are a unique case with some of the stuff that's gone on. You experienced some firsts that we've ever seen before, so it's not, hopefully for a lot of people wouldn't go through the exact
Story of
same
my life.
things, but still the lesson, you would have got a lot of lessons from that. So what would you advice would you give to some of those people perhaps getting into space or still trying to win their first contract?
Um, I would say, regardless of like where you are financially, try to find a group. Even if it's a free, what are those things called?
Like
Slack.
free Slack community or school
Yeah,
community.
yeah. Find a community, because there's not a lot of people that are doing this, and being able to go to the community and ask these questions. No question is too weird or dumb. Everybody's been through some version of what you've been through. I mean, simple questions like, what type of printer should I get? Or, what does this mean? Like, taking screenshots of the contract and sending it to the group. So I would say, don't try to do this alone. Don't try to do this alone. At least bare minimum, try to find a group of people that are doing it as well. Um, I would also I would also kind of I would advise somebody to try to figure out where their strengths and weaknesses are, because it's going to
Hmm.
show up when you're doing your bidding, right? So if you have the gift of gab, but you're not really that good with the minutia, because there's a lot of minutia here, like those folders, they like, like coming up with those folders, and oh my
But
god,
but on the back end, it becomes a lot
yes,
easier to get everything sorted out because you
yes.
did everything properly on the front end.
Yes, yes. But I find it's either one or the other. Either you're out there rainmaking, getting all the deals, or, talking to the vendors or whatever, or you're really good at, organizing the contracts. I haven't really seen where there's both. Usually somebody has somebody helping them, like a spouse
Mhm.
or a friend or a family member, helping with them with one or the other. So I would identify what you're good at and then quickly find help to get the other part of that, because you need both. You're going to be able, you have to be able to communicate to the vendors to get what you need, and then you have to be organized when you win, because that's when the clock starts ticking. You only have 10 days to deny the contract after it's been awarded if it turns out something's gone wrong and you can't um, perform on it. So it's very important for you to have these people in place or have a system in place or something. You bid on Tuesdays and organize on Saturdays, something, anything. But knowing what works for you and your personality and having a system, I think that's also very important in this line of work.
That was very solid advice. And we have a video coming out about that Sam just went over, like how to organize your day, and like how to structure your day. That was something that you just mentioned, Jerry, like Mondays and Tuesdays, RFQ, and then you got to
Mhm.
work Wednesdays and Thursdays. So Fridays and Saturdays, you submit your bids.
Mhm.
Sundays, you do your market research, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, no, that's very solid advice. Figuring out, what strength you can play to. If you need to, get a VA, hire somebody on
Yeah,
work, Fiverr or something like that to
yeah,
kind of lighten the load for you and dial in the areas that you're not super proficient in.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think those are the bigger ones. I mean, obviously, finances, make sure that you have the finances
Hmm.
in order to bid. But um, again, one of the beauties of this is that, there's a contract for everybody. There's a contract for every price point,
Yeah,
right? There is a contract for toothpicks. So
they're,
if you're,
they're out there.
if you're, because I remember watching one of your videos and the guy said his first contract was like water pitchers. Do you
Yes,
remember that?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
I think that contract was like $20.
yeah.
So the name of the game is to get your feet wet, right?
Mm.
So if you have only a couple of bucks to put towards these contracts, um, identify that amount, and then make sure that you are able to execute quickly when the bid comes in, when you're awarded and you're able to pull from those resources. So I think a lot of people hesitate. They're like, oh, I don't have the money, or, I don't, have the time to try to, I don't want to get another job to fund this, whatever. And it's like, the more organized you are, the more you'll be able to see what types of contracts that you can bid on with the funds that you have.
You
So
got
there's
five
really
hundred.
no excuse not
You
to.
can literally start with like $500.
Yeah.
There's $2 contracts,
Yeah.
penny contracts for like less than a dollar for 1 unit of some like micro resistor that's like 97 cents or something like that.
Yeah.
And you get a couple of those underneath your belt, then it becomes a lot easier to go get financing. Like, well, I've done this 10 times. I could do it
Right.
the 11th time. I just need $10,000. Can you give it to me? Here's my flawless track record of contracts. It becomes a lot easier to do that when you have leverage.
Exactly. Exactly.
And last question for
Mhm.
for you, Jerry, as someone who has worked with us here at Nomiad quite closely for the past year, so had quite the journey. What would you say to anyone who's perhaps considering getting coaching and mentorship about your experience with working with us?
Do it. Absolutely, don't hesitate. Do it. Because again, just working with Day one on one has been phenomenal. And then also the group that comes with it. They're great. They are fantastic. Like again, you don't feel like there's a dumb question. You don't feel like, no one's gonna have the answer. Like it's a very solid group. Everybody's there to lift each other up, even though technically we're all bidding against each other.
Plenty to go
It's the
around.
it's the friendliest pool of
Yeah.
sharks you'll ever come across.
It really is. Like I've actually seen people like, oh hey, you won this contract. Congratulations. You beat me out by a penny, literally a penny. So it's interesting to see, everybody so excited for everybody winning and losing various contracts. So but that's, it's a very small, niche area where a lot of people, they're not doing this. If you go on YouTube and try to Google it, you're not going to find a lot of
Mm.
people that are talking about this. It's very
Government
small.
contracting is already just insanely niche, and then
Mhm.
like the aspect of it that we do is just like
Yeah.
literally a needle in a haystack. Like
Yeah.
there's no other way to put it. So for us, that was like a big thing because so much of the information that like we found when we first started was like extremely safeguarded and like tribal knowledge and like
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing was transcribed. There were no documents. There were no
Yeah.
PDFs. There were no ebooks. There was none of that stuff when we first started. So if we can give somebody even all of the free stuff, like the free ebooks, the free YouTube videos, the free webinars, if we can give somebody any kind of guide or any kind of roadmap or any kind of like this is how you get from point A to point Z, then I feel like we've kind of made it more accessible.
Yeah, especially I know that there was like this frenzy during and maybe after the pandemic of government contracts, everybody getting into government contracts and all the videos and all the things. Well, those have kind of like fallen off and died
Yeah,
down, right? And so I think you're like one of the only mainstays of still you and Sheenapreneur and
shout out Sheena and Eric.
yeah, yeah, Eric,
The
Curtis Brown,
Avengers.
Barry Butler Jr. You guys are the only ones that are still like actively saying, government contracts, but um, you know, they have their own. Like I know Sheena just started her own uh, consulting government
Hmm.
service contract consulting part of her business, which is phenomenal. I think that's a really good idea, fantastic idea. And Eric, of course, has his things going on. So you're still one of the only ones that's like, somewhat consistently putting out information, regular contracts. I saw your last two videos. Regularly putting out videos rather for government contracting. So it's not a lot out there. And if you're serious about it, I would just suggest to just sign up with Day, and that way you can cut through all the fluff and get straight to it. And I think another thing I forgot to mention, but it jogged my memory as far as advice. This is a marathon, it's not a race. So you should not go in as thinking that you're gonna, be a
Retire
multimillionaire
your
overnight.
family.
Yeah,
Investments.
your first contract is gonna be, six figures. All it's again, it's what you make of it. The amount of contracts you bid on, the effort that you put into it. Again, you can make it as big or as small as you want it to be. If you're able to devote, your full workday to it, or 8 hours or whatever to it, then you're probably gonna get the bigger contracts faster. Um, or you can, like what I do, I just divide it and conquer. Like I'm only gonna focus on contracts this size. To make
Hmm.
it worth my while
Mhm.
of bidding. When I bid, I'm only going to focus on contracts for this amount. But even still, I bid on all these contracts. I only got one 2 months later, and the other ones were canceled. So you just never know. You never know that they were canceled by DLA. So you never know what's going to happen. I just have this one contract, and
Mhm.
I'm going to bid on more, but it's something that you have to be comfortable with, knowing that it's like watering a garden. Like you're not going to get the fruits right now; they will come. But if you are, relying on, like you said, taking care of your family on this, you should probably have this and something else just to be safe.
You know what they say? There's no flower that blooms year round. So
Hmm.
you gotta really just be willing to like make just grit your teeth and make it last for like a year if that's the route
Yeah,
that you wanna take to like retire your family or get out of your current job. If you want to, or if you want to expedite that, you better be ready to work 10 hours a day, 12 hours a
yeah,
day, every
yeah,
day. Because as Jerry said, it can be that big, but not without paying the price of like I'm gonna
yeah,
grit my teeth, and this is going to be essentially the only thing I do for
yeah,
the 365 days. So
yeah,
thank you so
100%.
much for taking the time, Jerry, because I know you got a million and one things going on between being a professor and then all the hearings and then being back and forth between Texas and the capital of the country. I know you got million and one things going on. And I always say the longer that we wait to do these things, the harder it gets because then you guys become like full on business owners and then you're like, I don't got time. I don't got time to sit and talk for like 45 minutes in the middle of the week on like a Wednesday. Like I got stuff to do, man. So I always appreciate you guys taking the time, and yeah, just super grateful. And I know that going forward, you've pretty much gotten everything thrown at you that could
Yeah.
probably get thrown at you. So there will be nothing that is a surprise going forward.
Well, I still haven't shipped it, so there's that.
Once we get that sorted out, there will be nothing left.
Okay, okay.
Has not seen, and we can help you out when the time comes. If you need any clarification, you know how to get in touch with us, and we will sort it out for you.
Yeah. I'm fairly confident that the worst is behind us, but like you said, I know if something tragic happens, then I can certainly reach out. But I'm fairly confident that we're able to move forward, and it'll be pretty seamless from here.
You know where to find us. Thank you guys so much for watching all the way till the end. I am Day Cantave. This is my right hand man, Sam White, and thank you to Miss Jerry for spending 40 minutes with us on this fine early Tuesday morning. Not only are we looking forward to your success, we're absolutely sure of it. Have a good one, everybody.